are recording.
So truth is not a fact. I know that a lot of people, they can be so hung up on what the facts are, and usually the facts have to do with the physical realm, you know, things that you can prove and measure and all of these things. And more often than not, facts change, okay? But the truth doesn't change. And I'll give you examples. The Bible says that Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Now, it can be a fact that you're in a certain position at a certain time, but that fact can change. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning these is that often people mistaken a fact for truth, and they have opinions about facts, but they don't necessarily know the truth of a thing. One of the things that will really liberate us into being who God has called us to be is not only to be able to differentiate between fact and truth, but to also know that most of the life that we know and we have lived is not necessarily truth. You have lived a life that is based on an opinion, sometimes of an opinion, and this opinion might have been formed because someone was misinformed or because of trauma or whatever the case is. And if you're wondering what am I talking about, I'm talking about the fact that a lot of people don't know who they are, and they live most of their life basing their lives on opinions and things that change versus the truth of who they are. Now, identity, some people think that I have to build myself up and know who I am and all these things, right? But identity, contrary to popular belief, it's not something that you get by doing. It's who you are. God gives identity. You're born with an identity. Now, that is the truth. The fact is, you were born in a certain family and you were taught certain things, and you might have thought that that is your identity, but it's not. So being a man and liking this or whatever the case is, all of those things are not necessarily an identity. Your identity is given. Oh, thank you. So your identity is given by God. It's very important for you to understand who you are versus what you do. A lot of people mistaken their identity with what they do. You ask a person, who are you? In fact, a lot of people are not even comfortable answering that question. You'll hear a person say, like, what do you mean? You know, and you know that, okay, they are probably not very comfortable to answer that question because a lot of people don't really know who they are. Identity is given by the Father. Identity is given by the one who created you. So it simply means then that identity is something that you receive. You don't work for it, you're born with it. So physically, factually, it could be that you're not planned. I'm giving you an example. But that doesn't mean that you are someone who's not loved. It could be factually true. Who knows? Maybe you're an orphan, whatever the case is. However, you actually would get to know who you really are when you come to Christ. You'd find out that actually I'm a spirit in a body and I have a soul. And my true identity is not these things that can change or be taken away, but it's who I really am. And when you know that, it liberates you because then you begin to live from a place of who you are, as opposed to trying to be something with all these weird things that people do to try and get people's approvals so that you can actually belong or fit in. You're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to be like the next person. That is why it's extremely important for you to be that which God has called you to be, because it is only then that you are able to truly serve the world with a true image of God. If you try to be like other people and you try to fit in, there's nothing special there. You're just repeating what has been, and unfortunately you're not doing the world a favor, because instead of you sharing who you really are, where then you begin to hopefully even, you know, add value and change people's perspective in certain areas, you're trying to blend in, that you are now taking away not only from people by what they can learn from you and gain from you, but from yourself as well. So I just want to encourage you to journey with me in speaking about this very interesting topic of identity that people assume they know, right? And if you do, that's good. But let's have conversations about what does it mean to respond to who I am. not what I do, right? You should be able to know who you are. If you lose your job, you lose your marriage, you lose your kids, you lose everything, you should still have your identity. And a lot of people cannot seem to fathom that because they've built their lives around these things that they're supposed to serve in place of identity. Thank you for your time. Remember to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And take care. Remember, identity is given. It's not worked for. And discovered. Okay.